Moses' 5 excuses 3,500 years ago are the very same ones we are using. I'm not qualified. What if they reject me? I am not good at this. Someone else is better. Send my brother. Ultimately, what if I fail? We talked about that yesterday. And so I'm glad you're joining me for part 2 of this. Because here is what we're talking about today. Today, we are going to go much deeper into this whole idea of living outside the realm of excuses. So we're not just going to recognize excuses for what they are. We want to understand, how do they create the stagnation we might find ourselves in? How do I actually spot when I'm making excuses for myself? How do I spot them if they're hiding in my life? And how do I prepare for a season of no excuses? Because here's what most people don't realize. The excuse is not just delaying your progress. It is creating stagnation. And I'm hoping I can show you how today. All right, so let's just first talk about, how do excuses generate stagnation? Because I think most of us think that excuses are passive. Like, if you make an excuse, nothing happens. But that's not true. That's not true. Excuses are active. They're building something, and they're building something in your life. And if you're mindful of that, you're going to be paying much more attention to how you make excuses. Okay, let's talk about how. All right, let me talk about 3 ways excuses are creating stagnation in your life. Number 1, the compound effect. Every time you make an excuse and you don't move, you're not just staying in the same place, you're actually moving backwards, okay? Because while you're still standing still, everything else is moving. Time is moving, the clock is ticking, other people are moving, the market is moving, opportunities are closing, right? So just think about it. Think about it. You say, I'm not ready to start X, Y, or Z, okay, for 1 more year. I'm not ready to go do that plant. I'm not ready to go for that mission. I'm not ready to launch that nonprofit. I'm not ready to give myself the structure that I need to deliver on this goal that's in my heart. But in that year that you've pushed it off by, competitors have launched something, the market has shifted and is shifting, your savings are dwindling, your confidence eroding. So the excuse didn't just delay you, it's put you further behind, right? And I think that's the compound effect of stagnation that we all have to begin to reckon with. Number 2, here's what's happening in your brain every single time you're making an excuse. You're strengthening the neural pathways that says, this is how I respond to challenge. This is how I do it. This is how I do it. The challenge comes, the excuse arises, and then no action. Challenge comes, excuse arises, action stops. You're training yourself to quit when there's an obstacle, when there's a hindrance. And the more you do it, the more automatic it becomes. It becomes your default. You don't even realize you're doing it anymore. You just automatically reach for the excuse when anything hard shows up. I can't do that because. It's not even a conscious choice anymore. It's a reflex action. And that reflex is keeping you stuck. Number three, and I think this is the most dangerous one. This is the most dangerous one. Every time you say, I can't do that because I am X, Y, or Z. I can't do that because I'm not good with money. You're not just making an excuse. You're declaring an identity. I'm not a morning person. I'm not good at tech. I'm not a leader. I'm not the type that can speak up. And be careful now, because when you put I am before anything, you have to be careful. Because once something becomes your identity, you're not even going to try anymore. Why would you, right? That's just not who you are. The excuse has become who you believe you are. And that's how excuses create permanent stagnation, not just delayed progress, just locked identity. I just think this one is so dangerous, especially if you're a believer. Be careful your I am statements. All right, let's transition out of this because that's not our main focus. How do you begin to be more aware of excuses in your life? So how do you actually spot the excuses when they're hiding, when they're not as plain and easy to tell that they're excuses? Because, I mean, we know that excuses don't always sound like excuses. Sometimes they sound like facts, like wisdom, like you're being real. So here's how to recognize them. One way is to listen for the word because in your self-talk. I'll give you an example. Here are some facts. I don't have a degree in marketing. I've never led a team before. I am 45 years old. I have 4 kids at home. Those things are just information, neutral data. Now, let me show you some excuses with those same data points. I can't start a business because I don't have a marketing degree. You get that? I can't apply for the promotion because I've never led a team before. I've never managed people before. I can't go back to school because I'm 45 years old. I can't pursue this. I can't pursue that because I got 4 kids. You see the shift? The word because turns what was just information, a data point, into a reason for inaction. So start listening for it as you talk to yourself, as you reason things out. Start listening for it. Every time you hear yourself say, I can't, because, stop yourself. Stop yourself and examine it because it might just well be an excuse. Okay, tool number 2. Someone else succeeded despite. All right, so this is your litmus test. If you can answer this question, has anyone else succeeded at the thing you want to do despite having the same limitation that you're using as an excuse? For example, I can't start a business because I don't have a business degree, or I can't start a business because I dropped out of school. Here's the litmus test. Are there successful business owners without business degrees? Are there successful business owners that never went to school? Are there successful business owners that are school dropouts? I mean, thousands. So the verdict is that's an excuse. If someone else has done it despite your limitation is not the obstacle. Your excuses. Get it? All right. This tool I recommend it to mothers. What would I tell my daughter? And I think this one cuts through everything, okay? And fellas, you can use it. What will I tell my son? So imagine your kid came to you with the same excuse you're using. What would you tell your kid? Would you say, you're right, honey. You're not qualified. Don't even try. Or would you say, you can do it. You can start. You can figure it out as you go. You can learn. You'll tell her the truth. You will tell her that limitation is real, but it's not disqualifying. So the question is, why are you holding yourself to a different standard? Why? So here's the point, right? We want to listen for these excuse patterns, right? Because excuses have a signature language. You know, start noticing as you speak your internal self-talk, and even as you speak to people you're comfortable with. All right, when you say, I am just not a dash person, that's an identity excuse. When you say, maybe next year, when, that's a timing excuse. When you say, I need to dash first, that's a prerequisite excuse. When you say, what if dash, that's a fear excuse. When you say, I don't want to be dash, that's a judgment excuse. I mean, every single one of these is an excuse that is hiding as wisdom. Check yourself. All right. So ultimately, why are we doing all of this? Because I believe we want to prepare ourselves for a season of no excuses. So you've seen how excuses can create stagnation. You've learned how to spot excuses in your self-talk. Now, how do you prepare for a season of no excuses? How do you live outside the realm of excuses? Number one, you decide that you are done. I know it sounds simple, but it's really not. A season of no excuses does not start with a plan. It starts with a decision. A season of no excuses starts with a decision that you have to make. The decision that you're no longer available for excuses, that you're no longer participating in a stagnation cycle, that you're done waiting for the perfect right time, the perfect qualifications, the perfect conditions. You're done. You're done. You're done today. You're done as soon as you make the decision. All right? The second shift to prepare for a season of no excuses is expect the excuse to show up. All right? And name it. And then tell yourself, okay, I know what's happening. I know this is going to happen. Because the moment you decide to move, the excuse it'll rise up again. Who do you think you are? What if you fail? You're not ready yet. Expect it. Expect it. But here's the difference. In a season of no excuses, you don't debate the excuse. You name it. You say, okay. There goes the inadequacy excuse again. Okay. There goes the fear of failure excuse again. You name it. You acknowledge it. And then you still move. You move anyway. Yeah. You move anyway. It is a season of no excuses. So you move. All right. The next shift is just know that you can't rely on willpower alone. You need structures that make the excuse irrelevant. You need the structure. You need the structure. So sign up for the class and pay in advance, because the excuse I'm not ready doesn't matter. You're enrolled. Show up. You need structure. Schedule the hard conversation on your calendar. Okay? So you don't have the excuses of I'll do it when the time is right. That's not going to matter anymore. It's Tuesday at 3 p.m. I'm going to have this conversation. More tips for structure. Tell 3 people your plan. So maybe I'll just wait until that excuse will not work anymore because you got 3 people who are watching, right? You remove the option to excuse yourself. Another shift, commit to a timeline. An open-ended goal is going to breed excuses. We all know it. We're all old enough. We've been around quite a few times. We know, you know yourself. I know myself. Okay. I'm going to lose weight. When? Not someday. When does the plan start? I'm going to start the business. When? Excuses love open timelines. But when you say, I'm applying for 3 jobs this week and I'm going to do one on Monday, one on Wednesday, and one on Friday, that's different. I'm enrolling in a program by Friday. That's different. I'm having the conversation by the end of the month. That's different. And that means your excuse is going to have nowhere to hide. The timeline is going to force the action. It's going to force the move. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to identify one excuse you've been using for the longest time. The one that has been creating your stagnation. I want you to run it through the fact versus because test. Is it a fact or is it an excuse? And I want you to decide that you're entering a season of no excuses, not someday, now. Midpoint in March 2026. Say, I have entered the no excuse zone. And supercharge the rest of your year with this. Step 4, I want you to build one excuse-proof structure this week. An enrollment, a schedule, tell a person or 2, pay in advance. Remove your options to back out of something. Because here's the truth. You've been stuck. You know you've been stuck. You've been stuck long enough. and the excuse has run its course. It's time to move. It's time to move. It's time to move unqualified. It's time to move afraid. It's time to move imperfect. It's time to be done with the permission slips that you've been writing to yourself. This is the season. Now is the time. Make no excuse for it. It's the no excuse zone. All right? You with me? Okay, good for you. I'll see you on the other side. I'm stepping into my no excuse zone. All right, God bless you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.